So today we are going to start our unit on cardboard sculpture. And the first set of cardboard techniques I'm going to be showing you are attachment techniques. So these are the supplies you're going to need for cardboard attachment techniques. So the very first thing you're going to need is some cardboard. Now it can be from Amazon boxes, it can be from any packages you get. It can be thin cardboard like this. It can even be from food boxes, any type of food boxes that are cardboard. So even a tissue box as well would work. You'll also need a pencil, some type of glue. Liquid glue is good. You could try stick glue. You can also use hot glue or super glue or rubber cement. You could even use Mod Podge. So those are just some options for what you have at home, and you can experiment. You're also going to need a pair of scissors. And if you have an X-Acto knife or a utility blade, you can use that, but only with parent permission or adult supervision. You do not have to have an X-Acto knife or a utility knife. You do need a pencil, some glue, some scissors, and you will need some cardboard. I'm also going to show you how to use a toilet paper roll. So if you have one of those, that'll be very helpful to use. And clothespins. If you have some lying around, these are going to be helpful as well. Okay, so the first cardboard attachment technique I'm going to show you is the slot. And this has no glue is needed to do this attachment, and it is very good for securing certain parts of your sculptures. So you will need 2 pieces of cardboard, and what you are going to do is make some measurement marks of how far you want your slot to go. And we're just going to be taking and making some straight cuts in our cardboard. Now you don't have to measure if you don't want to, but I like to measure so it's the same length. And so I just made 1 cut into each cardboard, and you can see. And then you will put them both together and push them in until you can't push them anymore. And then you can adjust it how you need to. And so you can attach 2 pieces of your sculpture together this way. Now, something not to do is make your slots very large, because when you go to attach, they're going to wobble and they're going to fall out, and they're not going to be as secure as they could be. Okay, so the next way to create a cardboard attachment is using something called a tab. And so for the tab, you will need a piece of cardboard, and all you're going to do is cut slits to the same point. So I'm going to make my marks again. And again, this is optional. You do not have to make your own marks. It's just helpful that they're all the same length. And then I'm going to cut slits into each one of these lines that I've created. And then you're going to bend these little tabs you've made, and you're going to alternate directions. So one's going this way, the next one's going this way, the next one's going this way, like that. And then at that point, you can glue it to another piece of cardboard. And something to know about the glue is that you only want to use just a little bit. And so then you can go ahead and place your tab down. Hot glue really works very well for the tabs, but a trick to securing these while it's drying is taking clothespins and securing these parts while it dries. Okay, so now we're actually going to combine both of the techniques that we just learned to make an insert. So an insert is another way to get around using glue. And so it requires a tab as well as a slot. And so what you're going to be doing is creating two cuts that are equal size. So you're going to have your slot, which is going to act as your base. And so I'm going to measure this out, and I'm going to use it with the piece of cardboard that I'm using to create the tab part. And so I'm just going to measure the length and let it go a little bit longer than the actual tab itself. And then this is going to be hard to cut by taking scissors and trying to stab like this. So there are two things that you can do. If you do not have an X-Acto knife, you can actually open up your scissors and do this with using only one side of your scissors. And you're going to be doing something called scoring. So scoring, typically when we try to cut, we just try to go right into whatever we're cutting. We only have to make one cut and that's it. But if you look at cardboard, cardboard has several layers, and so scoring helps you to get through those layers. And so you can take your scissors and cut a light cut to begin with. And so now you have your initial cut. I'm going to show you what it looks like with the X-Acto knife as well. And so you're going to keep going over that until you hit the bottom of the cardboard. So I can see it's opened up now, so I'm done. So you want to do multiple swipes over your cut, and that will help you to cut on the inside of some cardboard. So now I'm going to create the tab. And so you can see I made this out to be a shape. I'm just going to make this a regular piece of cardboard, and I'm actually going to make the tabs how we did in the last technique, where one of them is going one way and one of them is going another way. So I'm going to go ahead and make one cut right here. And then I'm going to bend them in opposite directions. And then I'm going to go ahead and insert them both. Into my slot. I'm going to turn it around and bend them so they look like that. At that point, you can go ahead and take a little bit of glue and you can take your clothespins again. And then you can bring it back up and adjust it however you need to. And you don't really need glue back here because this is so secure, but that is an extra added step that you can use. So the next thing we're gonna do is the flange. So a flange is really similar to tabs. And I'm gonna use a toilet paper roll to do this. So you're going to go around, take your scissors, and you're going to cut equal size slits into your toilet paper roll. Okay, so now I have all of these equally distant cuts around my toilet paper. And so now I'm gonna bend them, and I'm gonna bend them all outward in the same direction rather than the tab, which went one way and then the other way. Okay, so now I can lay those out. And at that point, you can put a little dab of glue on each one. Remember, you don't want to put too much glue, or else it'll start to run and it'll be hard to dry. And then you're going to go ahead and glue it onto your base. And again, clothespins work really well for this. Okay, so the last technique that we're going to learn to attach cardboard is called an L brace. And so you're going to create an L brace by taking one piece of cardboard, and you're actually going to be doing something called scoring, and it's exactly what we talked about when we did the slot and the tab. When you cut out the inside, except for the only difference is you're not going to cut all the way through. So cardboard, you can see where it bends normally. For example, this cardboard bends this way, but it's much harder to bend it the opposite way. So the way that we fix that is by scoring. So you want to lightly, with your scissors or your X-Acto knife, your utility blade, whatever you have, you're gonna wanna lightly swipe over your cardboard and make sure that it's not going through on the other side. And then you're gonna be able to easily bend the cardboard whichever way you want. And so now, since you've created this bend, it's now an L shape, and that's why we call it an L brace. So an L brace, you can actually use to support certain parts of your sculpture, or you can treat it like a bookend and use two to attach together to hold something up. So all you would need to do, take a little bit of glue, and then you can attach it to the other side, and you can clothespin them together, and your object will be able to stand up. So I've done everything in squares, so everything is square here, but that doesn't mean that you can't change the shape of this. So if you wanted this to be, for example, maybe you're creating, I don't know, a tree or something, you could cut out the top any shape that you want to make it look the way that you want it to, and then it'll stand up. Okay? So those are the techniques for cardboard attachment.